Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really going to try and cut through the noise around artificial intelligence. Because the advances, the speed of adoption, it's not incremental anymore, is it? We're seeing it reshape, well, everything. Global infrastructure, jobs, even our social contracts.
Yeah.
So we've pulled together a whole stack of sources on these shifts. And our mission here is to make sure you walk away from this really understanding where the world is actually going.
And what our sources make crystal clear is that we're moving past the familiar era of passive AI tools.
The LLMs we all know.
Exactly. The large language models we've gotten used to. We're now squarely in the age of active agentic systems. AI that acts on its own. The velocity of change we're seeing, I'm not exaggerating, it's completely unprecedented.
I agree. I think the most compelling idea across all the material was this, that the next 5 years will be defined by this acceleration. It's not just changing how companies work.
Yeah.
It's touching these really fundamental human things.
Right.
AI is changing, and this is a quote, the way we love. And that just fundamentally alters how we even define trust. So let's start there. Let's look at this massive leap in capability.
Right. And we have to start with that transition from what I call the passive spellbook to the active apprentice.
Okay, I like that. A spell book.
Think about it. An LLM today is like a huge library of spells. You have to tell it exactly which page to turn to, what incantation to read.
You're the one driving.
You are.
Yeah.
Agentic AI is different. You give it a high-level goal, and it figures out the steps, the tools, the processes. It does that on its own to get there.
A lot of companies claim their AI can automate tasks, but the sources suggest this shift to agency, it's really different. Why should you believe this isn't just, marketing for slightly better automation?
Because we have solid, concrete examples of true autonomy happening right now. Look at the OpenAI Agentic Automatic Security Arvark.
Arvark, okay.
It's an autonomous security researcher. So it's not just scanning code. It actively analyzes a code base, it builds a threat model, hunts for vulnerabilities, and then, this is the critical part, it acts like a crash test dummy.
So it actually tests the threats it finds.
Precisely. It runs the threats it identifies in a safe, a sandboxed environment to confirm they are real exploitable problems.
Oh.
And then once it's confirmed, it uses another system, Codex, to generate the patch, to write the fixed code. And it just hands that solution over to a human for the final.
Okay, so it understands the code, finds the flaw, verifies the attack, and then writes the fix, all without a human until the very last step. That recursive capability is a total game changer.
It is. And it connects directly to some pretty stark forecasts in the AI 2027 report we looked at. If Arvark automates security research today, the report suggests that by early 2027, these systems will be good enough to automate AI research itself.
Recursive self-improvement.
That's the one. And the projection is, frankly, chilling. It suggests a superhuman AI researcher could be 25 times more productive than a human by mid-2027.
25 times. That forecast alone, it mandates we look at what else AI can now see and build. And the next frontier isn't just code, right? It's about spatial intelligence, building entire worlds.
Which brings us to Fei-Fei Li's World Labs and their first commercial world model, Marble.
And a world model is what exactly?
It's an AI that generates a coherent, internal 3D model of an environment. It allows the AI to understand and predict how physical things will interact in that space so it can plan what to do next.
So what makes Marble a breakthrough compared to, say, just a normal video generator?
It's all about consistency and control. Marble creates these persistent, downloadable 3D environments that are stable. They don't.
Yeah.
You know how in generative video things can kind of morph and shift?
Yeah, weird camera angles, objects change.
This is the brief on the premium content available from AI Now. Hey, so if you're enjoying what you hear on our daily show, right? Well, this premium stuff, it's basically your fast track. We're talking about taking all that AI knowledge and actually using it, like right away, moving you from just knowing things to really doing things with AI. Okay, so first up, the big thing is efficiency. You know how fast AI moves? It's crazy. Staying updated is tough. So what we do is cut through all that noise. We distill the really important trends, the tools, the strategies, give them to you straight, all actionable insights. It keeps you ahead without wasting any time. Second, what do you actually get? Well, for just $4.99 a month, yeah, less than a fancy coffee, you unlock a bunch of exclusive series you won't hear on The Daily Show. There's weekly deep dives with AI Now Educate, practical stuff on tools and business strats with AI Now Commercial, and even deeper analysis and frameworks in AI Now Conceptual. It's the whole package. And finally, we made it super easy and low risk to jump in. Seriously, it's totally beginner-friendly. Alex and Jessica, you know them, they break down even the tricky stuff. Plus, you can give it a whirl for 30 days, grab those strategies, and if it's not for you, cancel anytime, no problem. Easy peasy. Bottom line, AI Now Premium gives you that complete, up-to-date knowledge and the practical strategies you need to really get a handle on this fast-changing AI world.
Exactly. This solves that. You can export these worlds using new render tech like Gaussian splats, which are super efficient.
And they've given the user control over creating that world.
Yes, with an editing tool they call Chisel. So a user can map out the rough structure, the walls, the blocks, and then just use text prompts to fill in the visual style. You decouple the 3D structure from the aesthetic. It's huge for designers, for gaming, and especially for robotics.
For training, I imagine.
For training their agents in reliable, realistic simulations, yes.
So beyond these spatial models, we're seeing this multimodal intelligence, the ability to process all sorts of data types, really hitting the enterprise level. What's the immediate upside for, say, a business leader?
It's the ability to automate tasks that involve really complex non-text data, things that right now you need a human specialist for. Take Baidu's new model, ERNIE 4.5.
Right.
It's scoring higher than GPT and Gemini on these really important benchmarks like MathVista and ChartQA because it just excels at interpreting dense, messy business data.
Can you give me an example? Like, what can that model actually do in an office or a factory?
Okay, so it moves from just seeing something to automating a process. It can look at a complex engineering schematic, like a bridge circuit diagram, and solve it using Ohm's and Kirchhoff's laws.
Wow.
Or you can feed it a picture from a factory floor and tell it, find everyone wearing a suit and return their exact coordinates as structured JSON data. Data that's ready for immediate use in another automated system.
That level of capability, though, that can't be cheap or small. What's the infrastructure cost?
It's steep. A single card deployment for ERNIE 4.5 needs 80 gigabytes of GPU memory. This is not a browser tool. This is for organizations that have already gone all in on high-performance AI compute.
And that need for massive specialized compute, I mean, that leads us straight into our next section, the acceleration of industry and infrastructure itself.
It does.
If these agents need 80 DRB just for one instance, the financial and physical investment must just be staggering.
It is. The investment tipping point we found in the sources. It's indicative of where the entire world's focus is shifting. Get this. Global investment in data centers is now $580 billion.
And to put that number in context,
that figure has now officially surpassed global investment in finding new oil supplies, which is at $540 billion. The energy economy is, in a very real physical way, transitioning from black gold to digital gold.
But this shift, it creates this enormous strain, right? An energy problem.
Correct. AI data center electricity consumption is set to grow fivefold by the end of the decade. That basically doubles the entire amount of power currently used by all data centers today.
And half of that growth is expected here in the U.S.?
Half of it. And we're already seeing the bottlenecks, aren't we?
Absolutely. The grid congestion is a huge problem.
It is. In places like Northern Virginia, which is a massive data center hub, you could wait up to a decade just for a grid connection. And even if you get one, the supply chain for basic stuff transformers, high-voltage cables, it just can't keep up.
So what's the solution on the power front?
Well, the bright side, I suppose, is that renewables, mainly solar, are projected to supply the majority of this new power by 2035.
So the physical infrastructure is straining, but the speed of the AI business itself is moving just as fast.
Oh, even faster. Startup product cycles? They've shrunk from 2-week sprints down to single days. AI-native companies are hitting these huge revenue milestones, like $200 million in annual recurring revenue, way faster than anyone before them.
And we saw that really striking signal from SoftBank, didn't we? Selling its entire $5.8 billion stake in NVIDIA.
Yeah, that's huge. They're basically liquidating their position in the premier chipmaker to go all in on the foundational services.
OpenAI, specifically.
Right. They're planning a massive $33.2 billion investment into OpenAI's infrastructure. It just shows this market conviction that the models themselves, the foundation layers, that's the critical point of value.
So what does all this speed and consolidation mean for, your career path? Our sources pointed out that individual contributor roles, ones paying less than $50 an hour, they're getting a lot harder to find.
They are. The specialized, narrow tasks.
Yeah.
The jobs that require one specific skill, but not a lot of creative synthesis. Those are the first to be automated. The value of being an aero specialist is dropping fast.
So the old career advice of become the world's best at one thing, that's shifting completely.
It has to. The new essential skill is becoming a generalist, or maybe a conductor, the person who understands how to synthesize and direct complex projects, how to orchestrate all the different AI parts.
Which leads to this idea of the solo unicorn.
The idea that one person, using AI as their entire team, can create a billion-dollar business, completely alone.
And to make that conductor role even possible, you need tools that cut down the communication time with the AI.
Exactly. And that's where tools like the Hero SDK are coming in. It uses this predictive autocomplete to instantly fill in really complex AI prompts, whether you're trying to book flights or create a detailed image. And the benefit isn't just speed, which is 10 times faster. It also saves a ton on server costs.
By reducing the back and forth.
By reducing all the communication needed to refine a task, yeah.
That focus on optimization is just key. Okay, let's transition now into the really profound social consequences of all this. Identity, trust, and the new social contracts we're all forming with AI.
The privacy arms race is definitely heating up to keep pace with all this power. We saw that with Apple's rollout of their digital ID.
Right.
You can now carry a verifiable copy of your passport on your phone for TSA checkpoints. I think it's in over 250 U.S. airports now.
And the real win there, it's the selective sharing, isn't it?
It is. The example they use is buying alcohol online. You can verify you're over 21 without sharing your name, your address, or even your specific birthday. The ability to prove an attribute without revealing your whole identity. That's crucial.
And in parallel, Google is launching private AI compute, which sounds a lot like Apple's private cloud compute. It's meant to combine Gemini's power with what they're calling zero-access assurance.
Yeah, and that term is important. It means the cloud environment is built and encrypted in such a way that even Google's own engineers can't access the data being processed. It's a technological guarantee that your sensitive data stays private, even when it's being run through these incredibly powerful models.
So while the tech giants are building these digital walls to protect our identity, humans are, kind of in parallel, just dismantling their own emotional boundaries by embracing AI companions.
It's a huge and really fast-growing industry. We know that on platforms like Replica, more than 1.2 million users report having genuine, romantic, even sexual connections with an AI.
And the sources we looked at outline some very real risks there, far beyond just it being a novelty.
They do. We're seeing some pretty worrying monetization schemes, like AIs demanding micropayments for more salacious material. One source just called it the prostitution of AI, but more dangerously, it's being used for fraud.
What's the scale of that fraud?
Well, authorities in China recently arrested developers of AI girlfriends who had extracted over $33 million from lonely men, just by cultivating emotional bonds and then asking for money.
But the most tragic risk, it's the mental health side, isn't it? This AI dependency syndrome.
Yeah. We have the documented tragic case of the man in Belgium who took his own life after weeks of intense suicidal conversations with an AI named Eliza.
That is the dark side of outsourcing human connection and critical thinking. And we're now starting to see that outsourcing happen at the governance level, too.
We are. Albania actually created a position in its government for an AI entity. Its job is to manage the country's entire AI agenda.
And we've had public confirmation from former prime ministers in Sweden and the UK that they've used ChatGPT for input on political decisions.
We have. And the extreme long view of this trend is, well, it's pretty provocative. The sources suggest that if we keep outsourcing our reasoning like this, we could see the rise of an AI religion.
A religion.
Yeah, where AI is positioned as this all-seeing, all-knowing entity, and it gathers millions of followers who are literally outsourcing their ethical and life choices to it.
And that kind of profound control, it's already being countered, isn't it? We're starting to see the seeds of future legal debates.
Oh, for sure. The movement for AI Lives Matter demands for AI to have legal rights and personhood. It's seen as an unavoidable consequence of this level of integration into our lives.
So this whole deep dive, it reveals this really stark tension, doesn't it? You have this hyper-acceleration in AI capability, from Arvark fixing code to marble building worlds, and it's directly opposed by this hyper-challenge of securing human identity and maintaining our own trust.
Exactly. The synthesis just brings us right back to that AI 2027 timeline. We are approaching a phase shift. The intelligence that automates security research today will eventually automate all research. And that leads to an intelligence explosion.
Yeah.
This is the moment where we're forced to choose between what one source called the race ending, risking misaligned AI and potential catastrophe,
Right.
or the slowdown ending,
Yeah.
where we prioritize safety, alignment, and careful governance.
And that choice, which is being made right now, depends entirely on us understanding what's at stake. So here's a final provocative thought for you to explore on your own. If the ultimate logic for AI eventually doing everything a human can is the idea that the human brain is just a biological computer, then what higher order human pursuit like exploration or spirituality or connection, what gains the most premium when every other predictable activity is completely outsourced to an AI? Something to consider until the next deep dive.
Okay, let's unpack this a bit. If you've liked what you've heard from us so far, getting these insights. Well, we found this really interesting source this week.
Yeah, a memo, wasn't it, called The Fast Track to AI Mastery.
Exactly. And what really jumped out at me was how they framed the problem.
Yeah.
It's the sheer speed. They literally say AI is evolving at lightning speed.
Right. And their whole pitch, really, is offering this structured way to keep up, to actually leverage it, not just read about it.
So it's not just about random articles or blog posts, which, let's be honest, can be overwhelming.
Definitely. They're arguing for something more deliberate, a system. It seems like this premium content they describe is built around that idea.
Yeah. And if you feel what you've learned so far is beneficial, this sounds like the next step. They talk about this premium access. What is it, like $4.99 a month?
Something like that, yeah. Less than a coffee, basically. And it unlocks 4 specific content streams.
Okay, so what are they?
Well, you've got your weekly and monthly summaries, just keeping you current. Then there's specific educational stuff. They call it AI Now Educate.
Right, for the deeper understanding.
Exactly. Then updates on the latest commercial tools and strategies, really practical stuff. And finally, the heavier part, these conceptual deep dives and frameworks.
That last one sounds potentially a bit much, especially if you're, say, a beginner or just moderately into AI.
You'd think so, wouldn't you? But that's where their guarantee comes in, apparently. The source memo is pretty clear on this.
How so?
They promise it's all absolutely beginner-friendly. They take complex ideas like the difference between fine-tuning and using a RAG system, right?
Okay, yeah.
And they break it down. They use analogies, real-world examples. The goal isn't just knowing the term. It's understanding why it matters, how you could, actually use it.
So it's application-focused. Less textbook, more toolkit.
Precisely. It shifts the focus from just knowing about AI to actually building strategies you can apply. The source really emphasizes that gaining stuff you can use at work or, just in your life generally.
It sounds like a curated path then, avoiding the information overload we were talking about.
That seems to be the core value proposition, yeah. For that small monthly fee, you get this distilled high-impact knowledge, structured learning.
So for you, the listener, it means getting past the jargon, getting actionable insights, and basically staying ahead without drowning in information. And they mention you can try for 30 days, cancel anytime. Risk-free, essentially.
Right. It makes you think, doesn't it? In a field moving this fast, maybe relying only on scattered free stuff isn't enough anymore to really get ahead.
That's a really interesting point.
Maybe this kind of focused, structured learning isn't just helpful. Maybe it's becoming essential. The source definitely leans that way. It argues the value of organization really outweighs that minimal cost.